Rotary 5150 is proud to offer another online learning and leadership development presentation, Racing to Raise Funds. Learn how two clubs in our district, the Rotary Club of San Mateo and the Rotary Club of San Mateo Sunrise, are raising funds through community fund runs. Get practical tips of general application for other club fundraisers. We hope you find this presentation helpful.
We'd like to start off by thanking our audience member, Tony Villanueva, for participating in our virtual meeting. Thank you, Tony, for being here.
Sure.
This presentation on fundraising is titled Racing to Raise Funds. Or let me say that again, Racing to Raise Funds. I'll introduce myself and say a few words about our club's fundraising event. Then Mike Wong, my co-presenter, will go ahead and do the same. So my name is Juan Rigosa. I joined the San Mateo Rotary Club back in 2014, and I'm the co-chair of our fund run committee. Last year was our 11th year doing the fund run to raise money for scholarships. Last year we had about 300 runners participate in our race. We raised a net, this is after expenses, of $30,000. Our highest net was about 2 or 3 years ago. I believe we netted $38,000 back then. Our club, luckily for us, is fairly large. We have about 80 members, and each year about 25 Rotarians, in addition to other folks, volunteer to help out on the day of the event. So that's a little summary about our event, and of course, as we go through the presentation, we'll provide more details. Mike?
Sure. My name is Mike Wong. I've been with the San Mateo Sunrise Rotary Club since 1988. And we've been doing this. Our club has right now 15 members, so we're a small club. We started this, or I started this Color San Mateo Color 5K run in so this would have been our 5th year this year. So we've done it 4 years. Initially, we were copying a run that was done up by the Novato Club, and we took it from there. Novato Club has since stopped their run, but we continued to do it. The first year we made about 10,000. Second year we made about 15. Then I think at our high was at 25. Last year we were back down to 15, and then this year we didn't have one. So we'd like to, both Juan and I will go over a little bit about each of our races and how we run them, and then we'll go from there. But it can be done by a large club like Juan's, and it can also be done by a small club like ours.
Okay, thank you, Mike. So moving on here to our learning objectives. So as Mike and I mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about our two different events. They're a little bit, our clubs are a little bit different, our events are a little bit different. So you'll get a chance to see two different types of fun runs. And then, we'll provide some lessons learned and some tips for you guys. So if you're interested in doing a fundraising event, this will be helpful for you.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add, Mike?
No, we're like Juan said, we're doing these differently. We use and we'll get into this later, but we use a race coordinator, and Juan uses a timing company. So we can go over that later.
Okay, very good. So moving along. So the agenda for today is going to be short and sweet. We're going to talk a little bit about selecting a venue and picking a date. Then we'll discuss about identifying potential sponsors, chasing down sponsors, doing getting the vendors as well, and then marketing and promotion. It's all about recognizing our sponsors and thanking them, as well as trying to get more participants to join in on the fun. And then we'll talk a little bit about volunteers. Where do we get them from? What do they do? And then a little bit about race day planning. There's a lot of things that happen prior to the event that you need to think and take care of, so that you have a smooth race day. Mike, anything else?
Nope. So I'll just start in on venue and date. So it's important to get a venue, and I'll just talk about a little bit about how we chose ours. So the venue is important because you need to set up a race course. Ours is specifically only a 5K race. So ours is not timed. It's not used for any pre-qualifications for any other races. So we have no real winners for our race. It's mostly a fun run directed towards kids and families. So as you can see in the picture behind me, it's a color run. And so what a color run does is it's a 5K run or walk. As you go around through the course, you get at different stations, you get colored powder thrown on you. At the end, there's a big color explosion and everybody throws color in the air. And the purpose is to have fun and to get all colorful and mess up your cars when you get back in them. So strictly for fun. But it is important for us to pick the date. So when you're picking the date, you need to find out, because a lot of people have a lot of different events going on, find out if there's any other conflicting events. There's a runner's calendar, but then you also want to see if there's other, festivals going on at the same time. So the date is important. We selected, as we looked, some events were done through the city and through parks. Ours, we copied the Novato Club's choice. They used a community college, local community college. And the reason there was because you don't have to involve city streets, and you don't have to involve the police or closure of any streets of any kind. So if you stay on the campus, community college campus, you make a contract with them to rent the campus or rent the location. They also supply security. They also supply the trash pickup. And they also supply some of the cleanup. So we have to do a lot of the cleanup, but they will haul the trash away. You want to go over the venue now, Tony?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. So the race course, our race course went through the college campus, and with the help of our race director, he helps out set up the course and has the markers and things like that. Can you go over, Tony, how you chose yours? Juan, go over how you chose yours.
Yeah, so we do our fun run in October, usually around the 25th or so, like the third. It's on a Sunday, and last year was the first year that we did a theme, and our theme last year was a Halloween theme, and so we asked our runners and walkers to dress up and put on a costume, and we had a costume contest. So a lot of people dressed up. We had fun, a lot of fun. We had a dinosaur actually ran the course. Anyway, so we really enjoyed doing the theme, and I think a lot of the participants liked the Halloween theme. So that was really good. Our venue is at the Seal Point Park. It's a city park in the city of San Mateo, and the actual course is on the San Francisco Bay Trail. So it's a beautiful course. It's flat. It's right on the bay. And another reason we selected this venue is that it has great facilities. It's got a huge old parking lot at the facility itself, and it's got a bathroom right there where we set up shop and where the runners start and finish. And then at the other end of the parking lot, there's another bathroom, and then there's tons of parking out on the street if need be. So that's but however, we do need to get a permit from the city, and it's not too bad. It's a couple $100. But you do need to go through that process in getting the city permit. And another thing just want to mention is that we also need to get an insurance certificate. It's a liability insurance certificate, and we get that through Rotary International at no cost. In terms of courses, our particular event, we do, like Mike said, we do use an event timer. So we hire someone. It costs us about $2,000 a year, and they basically make sure, they set up a big old arch where the runners start and where they finish, and they make sure, everybody has a timing chip. So, they record, their start time and end time, and then they'll give us official times. Let's see, about 3 or 4 years ago, our course was not certified in the past, but 3 or 4 years ago, we went through the process with the U.S. Track and Field Association, and we actually got our course certified. So, and if we use an event timer, then those times are actually allowed, they're accepted as official times. So that's, for serious runners, that's kind of nice. In terms of what kind of participants we have at our race, it's a lot of our employees and family members of our sponsors. They get to participate for free, so we get a lot of those. And then we get a lot of recurring runners that come every year. And it's a family event because we also have a kids run. In addition to doing a 5K and a 10K, we do have a kids run. And I'd say we have about maybe 40 kids participate in the kids run. It's free. The parents love it. All the kids, they all get a medal. So, it's really nice. Let's see, what else is there? I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay, from our end, we have a little festival at the end of our race. It's mostly, it's all for fun. So we have where it says you need food and health permit. So if you're serving food, you're gonna need to get a permit. Since we're on the college campus, everything goes through them. So we really don't need a food permit and we're not cooking anything. The only food that we have is non-prepared food that we have from vendors that are coming and donating, like energy bars and drinks and things like that, that they pass out as samples to the participants. So our race director costs $4,000 per event, and then he charges another $5 per participant. So a lot of our registration fees goes to cover his costs. And then the sponsors, and we'll get to that a little bit, the sponsors' money is usually what our net comes out to be. Like Juan said, the insurance certificate we get through Rotary International, you'll get a one-day certificate, which you'll need in advance. And the college that we go through, community college that we go through, is the College of San Mateo, and they require that as well. So we have to get that to them. The cost for us to rent the college campus with the security and everything is about $800. I think that's about it for this venue and the date. Anything else there you think?
I am going to mention now that you talked a little bit about costs. So in addition to paying $2,000 for the folks that come in and time our event, we also incur I'd say about between $4,000, $4,500 in t-shirts, because we do provide a t-shirt to each participant. It's a free t-shirt, and it's got the logos on the back. It's got the logos of all our sponsors, and on the front it has our title sponsor and then our big event logo on it as well. So let's see. So we do that. So that's $4,000, about $4,500 for the t-shirts, $2,000 for the event timer, and then we also have about $1,000 because in advertising fees. So each year we do. It's mostly we do an ad in the newspaper, local newspaper, and it's mostly to thank our sponsors. So we have a half-page color ad that has all the logos of our sponsors, and we thank them for sponsoring. And we also do put in where folks can go to register for the event as well. But it's really, like I said, it's really mostly to thank our sponsors and give them some recognition. So, overall, our fees, our total costs are about $8,000. And those costs are really 100% covered by registration fees. So our registration fees are about $8-9 grand, and they cover, our expenses. So at the end of the day, every dollar that we get from a sponsor is basically net profit.
Yeah, so our expenses come out to about $10,000. We have to buy the colored powder packets. That's a fair amount, and the t-shirts probably are the biggest, plus the $4,000 for the event coordinator. He brings out that arch there. He brings out the banners and other things for us too.
Okay, let's see, I'll move on. Mike?
Yep.
Okay.
This is probably the most important part, is identifying your potential sponsors and getting your sponsors to donate. So it's important for the sponsors to find out what their benefits are for sponsoring. And for us, our beneficiaries are usually three organizations. So our first year, we donated the proceeds of the event to the Juvenile Diabetes Association. And then we donated also to the local elementary school district, which is the San Mateo Foster City School District. And then also we split it 3 ways, and the other third went to our club's foundation. It was important for us to donate to the schools because the kids are a lot of our participants. So as a donor to the schools, they allowed us to then send our flyers and things home with the kids' packets to their parents, and that's how we got a lot of our participants. But sponsors, you're going to have to go through your club members. A lot of it's your club members, who your club members know. A lot of times it's who you know, because then they can do a face-to-face ask. Uh, we have a sheet that lists the benefits, like what you
Here they
get
are.
for your money. So this is kind of a sample uh, of what we use, but you can have different benefits for each. So our lowest was a festival sponsor, which is having a booth at the event. They also, let's say it's someone that wants to promote their sports drink. Well, they could, for $125, they can come out, they can have a booth, and then they can give away samples of their sports drink. We tend to try to shoot for a $500 sponsor because that's the minimum in order to get on the back of the t-shirt. They can get their logo on the back of the t-shirt for $500, but any less than that and they don't get on the t-shirt. We'll go all the way up to $5,000 for a title sponsor. I think our first year we were shooting for $10,000 for a title sponsor, but we didn't get one. So we dropped it down to $5,000 and we used them as the title sponsor. So we have a website. That's where the participants sign up, and they sponsors will get their logos there as well. So it's important to show them the benefits of what they get for their money.
Okay. Anything else, Mike? Or
Not from my end.
okay. So our fun run, it's all about sponsors at the end of the day. I break down our fund run into three pieces. You got to chase down the sponsors so you can get the money for scholarships. Our particular event, 100% of the net proceeds, which is basically all money received from sponsors, goes to scholarships. Every year, that's what we do with our money. It just goes into the scholarships fund. This is one of our main fundraisers for our club. We have two other main fundraisers, and that's really how we get our bulk of our money to give out to local kids. Our sponsorship levels are very similar to Mike's here. The only difference is our title sponsor is 10 grand, and we've been lucky that our title sponsor of 10 grand, this will be the third year that they're going to be doing that. So, cross our fingers. It's very generous sponsor. We're happy to have them. Every year, pretty much all the prior sponsors sign up again. So that's always nice. It's something that you should know. Once you get a sponsor, they typically renew their sponsorship the following year. I would say on average, maybe one or two at the most, maybe three sponsors drop off, and they're usually like the lower level sponsors. And so every year we're active about trying to get new sponsors to replace the ones that drop off, and to increase the amount of sponsorships that we get. Our lowest level is 500, but you know what? At the end of the day, we tell our sponsors we'll pretty much take anything. As you know, every dollar counts. We do also provide opportunities for our sponsors or vendors to have booths so that they can increase awareness of whatever products or services they provide. Let's see, what else is there to say here?
Yeah, for us in the recent years, it's been harder and harder to get the higher level sponsors. Our highest level sponsor did it for a couple years and then dropped off. And so we've been working to try to restore that, but it's been hard for us. So, with 15 members, limited contacts, we're making a lot of phone calls. So easier with a bigger club, a little bit more work for a smaller club.
Yeah, no, agreed. In terms of our sponsors, we keep a list of every year's sponsors. And so that's our starting point. And then in our committee, we usually split up the list between probably 4 or 5 Rotarians. And so each one of them will get 3 or 4 sponsors, maybe 5 or 6. And it's their job to reach out to the particular sponsor, make contact and provide them a sponsorship form, and then, follow up to make sure that they sign up as a sponsor. It's like Mike said earlier, it's all about relationships. I would say that most of our sponsors, either one of the Rotarians in our club either works for the organization, or perhaps, maybe even owns, the business. Some of them are, small businesses, and they also contribute. So there is a couple of sponsors where we don't have a direct relationship, but nonetheless, there is a Rotarian who does know somebody at the sponsor organization and makes it happen. So, it's
The other thing that we do for our club is for our foundation, this is our main fundraiser for the year. And so we tell all of our members that they are responsible to get or donate at least $250 of sponsorship. So if they can't get a sponsor, then they have to put up the money themselves. But they have the opportunity to go out and get sponsors for us.
let's see. So I'm going to move on here, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. Marketing and promotion.
So since we're promoting mostly to families and kids, we use social media, but we then send a lot of our information to the schools, local schools and high schools. And then from there, it spreads from there. Also, since we're partnering with other organizations, we use them. So the first couple years we were juvenile diabetes and the school district. Then we moved on to Peninsula Family Service for the last 2 years, and then still the school district. So we use Facebook. We don't do too much advertising on Facebook. We just send posts, and we encourage our members to send out posts. The partner organizations that we are working with, we have them send out to their mailing lists as well. We send it out, our race director sends it out to the racing websites and things of that nature. We developed a partnership with the local newspaper, as did Juan, to get a reduced rate on the advertising, and then we use them as one of our sponsors. We make postcards, not so much anymore because now the schools do a lot of everything by email. But we still do make some posters, and then we use banners. We have a large banner that we put up at the event. We have a large banner that we put up downtown, a 30-foot banner that we put up downtown. We use the banner over each year, so there's a spot where you have the date, and we can put another banner and put it over the old date so that we can use the banner over again. And then if we change the sponsor, we can actually get another piece and put that over where the sponsor was. So we can use the same banner over again. Promotion. A lot of our sponsors are giving giveaways, so we add that into a goodie bag. Our first couple years, we had a drawstring backpack donated by Dignity Health, and we put all the goodies in there. We do not have raffle prizes. Juan has raffle prizes, but when they do their packet pickup, we do the packet pickup the day before and on race day, and we give them the t-shirt at that time and their bib number.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, so our participants, a lot of them are recurrent runners. So, the event registration website that we use, it's a free website, and it's awesome. I highly recommend it. It's called active.com, and it's free for use. And you set it up, you put your date, and people can register, by age category, and it's really super user friendly. And anyways, it maintains all the email addresses of past runners for I think I've got it for the last 4 or 5 years. So basically at the beginning of the year, once we come up with a date, we'll send out an email blast to all our past participants to let them know. And we try to incentivize them to register by providing a discounted price. If they sign up, our event is October 25th, somewhere around there. And so typically we offer like a $10 or $15 discount if they sign up by Labor Day, or something to that effect.
Right. We have an early registration things too. So you have an early registration if they do it like a couple months in advance, and then slowly you bring it up to the normal level as they get closer.
Yes, yes. You know, and I find it to be effective. A lot of people like a good deal, and especially, you know, the recurring runners. So if you give them a $10, $15 discount on, I think we charge, I want to say $35 is what we, is our regular price. What's yours, Mike?
Ours was 35 as well.
Okay, so it's 35. So
And then we have a $5 off if they join as a team. So three people or more, if they can join up as a family or a team, then it's $5 off for each person. And then I think is if they do it a couple months out or a month before, then it's even less than that.
So that's how we get our bulk of our runners. In addition to that, we provide a discount code to our sponsors. And obviously, you know, the higher the level of the sponsorship, the more pre-registrations they get. You know, we're not too, what should I say, we're not very detailed about making sure that they don't exceed their limit. Because at the end of the day, you know, the more people that go to the event, the more festive it is and the more fun people tend to have. So, you know, so there is a lot of free registrations, but they're all from the sponsors themselves or family members of the sponsors. Let's see, we do something.
One that we had Juan, is we had any kids or adults that were handicapped, they got to run for free. And then also one of their companions gets to run for free. Also at our festival at the end and beginning of the race, any nonprofit that wants to have a booth can have a booth there for free.
Let's see. The last thing I want to mention is, you know, we've tried doing sponsored ads on Facebook. They're fairly inexpensive, but I'm not sure they're effective. So, you know, you're welcome to try them, but
I'm not sure how effective they are either. So we usually spend a couple $100 there, but we're not sure. It says that you're reaching 10,000 people or something like that, but I don't know how effective that is.
Yeah. So, you know, you can try it, but I don't think I will anymore. Mike, anything else on this particular slide?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, very good. So moving on to the next one. Volunteers.
Yeah, so for us, we need a lot of volunteers because each station, color station, needs to have about at least 5 people. We started, our race starts at 10 in the morning. Usually people are race day sign-ups, they can come and sign up, but that starts at 8. So we set up earlier than that, and we'll go over that when we go over race day stuff. But one thing that we instituted later is because it's a couple times it was a little bit warm, and then it gets a little dusty when the powder gets thrown on you. So we have a person before they hit the color station with a water sprayer, like a big garden water sprayer, the pump kind, and we spray the people that want water with the water as they come in to each color station, and then the powder gets thrown on them, and then the color sticks. So the color stays on a lot better when they're a little bit wet. But we have 5 color stations, so that's 25 people right there. We need people to pass out the fruit and the water and things at the end. We have a water station in the middle. So for us, we need about 60 volunteers. So we usually get our members families, high school organizations, Interact. We try to get every organization we can to participate. The purpose of our race primarily was, it was one to make money, but then it's also one to promote our club and Rotary, to get the name of Rotary out there. So the more people that we get involved, the more people hear about Rotary and the things that we do. So that's where we get most of our volunteers from. And we have a whole list of jobs and things that we have. Then on our website, people can sign up for different volunteer positions.
Okay, so let's see. In terms of volunteers, like I mentioned earlier, we're a pretty good sized club. We have about 80 members. Our fund run committee, I'd say, has about 15 members. So it's a pretty good size. And needless to say, each one of them—
That's more than our club.
Each one of our committee members needs to show up on event day. And then we also end up getting maybe another, another 15 Rotarians to join. So at the end of the day, we have about 25, 30 Rotarians and maybe, some spouses as volunteers. So that's really the bulk of our volunteers. Sometimes, and we also get, other friends and family. And then we also have a relationship, our club, with the San Mateo Police Activities League. So we get a lot of volunteers from the Police Activities League as well. So that's it's really nice to have that relationship with them to help us, put on these events. What was I was going to mention something about. So in terms of we do have a role for each volunteer. So the training is fairly minimal. We'll get that, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. But we do need volunteers not only on day of the event, but we also need them 2 days beforehand, because that's when we get all the swag from our sponsors and put our goodie bags together. And so, so we need, several people to help us, put the 350 goodie bags, get them all filled with the swag that we get from our sponsors, and talk a little bit about the swag that we get from sponsors. I mean, if it's a law firm, we'll probably get a pin. We have a small business that sells candy, so we get candy from them. We have a couple of health systems, so so they provide like hand sanitizer, lip balm, those kind of things. So every year we end up with a really nice goodie bag. Some of them tend to be a little bit heavier than others, depending on what happens to fall into the goodie bag. So we do need some volunteers for that. And we also have volunteers because we do provide participants the opportunity to pick up their goodie bag, their bib, and their free t-shirt the day before the event, so that they don't have to actually check in on the day of the event. So a lot of participants do take advantage of that. And for our particular race, a Runner's Mind out of Burlingame, they provide the time and services, and we go to their shop, and that's where we set up the day before the event for runners to come in and get their goodie bag and bib. Let's see. I think that's pretty much.
For us, we
Anything
partner
else?
with Sports Basement. Now they're in Redwood City. Before that, we were with Roadrunner Sports for the first 2 years, and then we moved over to Sports Basement in Redwood City. We set up there. We bring all of our swag and things that are going to go in the goodie bag there. We have a little assembly line that we do maybe a half hour before the people come to pre-register or to pick up their bags. And so we get the bags ready kind of on the spot.
Mm.
And so
Maybe we should try that, Tony.
and so because you don't have people there lining up, so there is time to put the bags together while you're kind of waiting for the people to pick them up. So that's what we do. So we have everything delivered. We have everything delivered to Sports Basement, and they keep it in the back. And then we just have to get there early to bring it all out and set up the assembly line to put it all together, along with the t-shirts. So Juan went over a number of participants they have. So our participants the first year, I think, was 300. At the high, we got up to 600. Last year was 400.
It's a lot of runners.
A lot of runners, a lot of color all over the place.
Okay, so I'm moving on to the next one here. Race day planning.
Yeah, so race day planning, we have specific times for the volunteers to come. A lot of the volunteers have never done any of the things before, so we have a little setup for them to tell them what to do, especially for the color stations. We have a certain amount of setup. Some setup is the booths that we have to set up. We set up our own Rotary booth. We set up the registration desks and those things. So there is a fair amount of setup. We do the course signage and layout of the course the night before. So we go there the night before, a small crew of maybe 3 or 4 people, walk the course, put up the signs. The race director, our race director basically is working there all night, setting up everything that night, which is for us Saturday night. We run our race on Sundays. The main reason we run it on Sundays is because the college has a farmer's market on Saturdays, so we can't do it there on Saturdays. So we do it on Sundays, but it works out really well. So we have porta potties that are delivered because there's no bathrooms right there. We set up in a parking lot, and then there's plenty of parking, but we set up there, set up the archway. That's the start and finish line as well. So there's a lot of work goes into the race day planning, and that's where you'll need most of your volunteers is on the race day itself.
Okay, so let's see. The only thing I want to add is, so like Mike said, we do use an event timer. So, you know, that's a runner's mind. And in addition to that, they're also a sponsor, and they provide gift certificates to the winners of the 5K and the 10K. And we have a top first place female, first place male on each of those two races. And then in addition to that, we also provide prizes for the by age category. So you'll have like, I think it's like 19 and younger, 20 to 29, 30 to 39. And so we also provide prizes to the winner by age category for the top male and the top female. And most of the prizes are provided by our sponsors, whether it's gift certificates or, you know, a couple of bottles of wine, you name it.
We can't use the wine for our event. Sorry.
Let's see. What we do in terms of equipment, we do rent tables and chairs. At one time, we were borrowing the tables and chairs from a local school, but then our relationship, I forget what happened. I think the Rotarian left or something. So now we rent them, but you know, they're fairly inexpensive to rent for one day. We don't have to worry about porta potties. Like I mentioned, there's two bathroom facilities at our venue. You know, you may want to have some audio, so you can have some music prior to the event. Our event timer, they also provide, they bring sound, and sometimes we'll end up just using a big old megaphone. And believe it or not, a big old megaphone is pretty effective, you know, to start off the race or make any kind of announcements. Let's see, event activities. Yeah, there's like Mike said, you know, we show up like Sunday at like 6 o'clock in the morning and start, you know, setting up. And then, you know, there's the whole process of distributing, you know, the bibs, t-shirts, and goodie bags, which can happen the day before for those people that go to the store, or, you know, we'll do it in the morning prior to the race. Our race typically starts at 9 o'clock. We'll start off the 10K at 9 o'clock, and then about 9:05 or 9:10, about 5 minutes or 10 minutes after that, we'll start off the 5K runners. And, you know, usually 45 minutes are all done. And believe it or not, you know, we're done cleaning up and putting everything away before noon on Sunday. So
yeah, that's kind of like the same as ours. The race, ours is only a 5K, so everybody finishes pretty much at the most in an hour. There's a few maybe a little bit longer than that. And then we gather everybody together and we do a big color explosion at the end. We give them another handful of color, and we do a countdown, and then everybody throws it up in the air while they're throwing it with one hand and they're holding their phone in the other hand to take a picture of it. But it's good. It's good publicity for Rotary. We get from Sports Basement, they're one of our sponsors, since they allow us to have the packet pickup at their location, and they send it out to all of their email list as well. But they give us $1 for every participant that comes into the store. In addition, each person that comes into the store, or actually each person that runs in the race, gets a coupon for, I think it's 20% off, that's good for a week at the store. So we've been doing that for the last 2 years with Sports Basement.
very good. Well, I think we're pretty much, Mike, I think we're pretty much done, no?
Okay, so both of our races are a little bit different, and so we didn't go into a lot of the fine details about volunteers and about race directors, that sort of thing. If you want to do a race on your own, like mine or like Juan's, contact us. Here's our contact information. We can give you all of the forms that we use, the details that we use, the timelines, that sort of thing. We have that all available for you to run your race, either one like Juan's or one like ours.
Yes, for sure. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to help. And, we got, like Mike said, we have some tools, some spreadsheets, some forms, etc., that we'd be more than happy to share with you and get you started on a race event.
Yeah, and so like I said before, it's not just about raising money. It's all about also bringing awareness to Rotary, and awareness to, for us, the other partner organizations that we partner with. So, and they come out and help out as well. So it's all about sort of collaboration.
Absolutely. Well, maybe we've got a couple of minutes, so maybe we'll open it up here to our audience member, just in case we missed some important information.
Okay, great. So Mike and Juan, thank you very much for this great and informative presentation. I used to be a runner a long time ago in a previous life. I quit doing it, but you know what? This presentation has kind of inspired me to think about coming back to running. But I do have a couple of questions for you guys. And my first question is to Mike.
Yep.
So I've never been to a color run. I've seen people come out of color runs. So what is the color made of?
It's a colored cornstarch.
And what's your cleanup responsibility?
Okay, so we get a sponsor, and one of our sponsors is a equipment rental place. So the first year we thought we would, Novato used a special water gun, pressure washer thing, but that took forever. So we found that as long as things stay dry, and it stays pretty dry where you do the colored powder, we just get a sponsor from Home Depot. They help us out, and they help us out by donating product. So they give us buckets, which we save. Then we get these sort of indoor-outdoor carpet mats, and we tape those down with duct tape right in the colored zone. And so a lot of the color goes into those mats, and then we roll up those mats, and then we toss it out into the trash at the end. The other thing that we get from an equipment rental place, and they donate those too as well as a sponsor. So some of your sponsors will donate product, and then you can give them a sponsorship slot for donating. So this one equipment rental place donates $1,000, plus they donate leaf blowers. And so we use the leaf blowers to blow everything away. But it's colored cornstarch, and we get it from a specific place, and they come in boxes, and then they come in individual packets. But the cost of the color usually comes out to about $2,000.
So
Wow.
it's environmentally safe, right?
Environmentally safe. You can blow it into the weeds or the plants and stuff, and then the rain will just eventually wash it away. We can't, but the one thing why we didn't do it down by Coyote Point and down by where Juan is they didn't want it going into the water.
Mm.
So at one point we thought we were going to do it down by the water because we know that other races go along there, but the city said, no, we don't want that color going into the water.
Great. So Juan, I've got a question for you. So timing is an important component of your race. How important do you think the timing component is to attracting runners to your race?
It all depends on the participant. There's definitely serious runners who take their time and results very serious. And but I would say that the bulk of our runners are local families. It's spouse and wife, and they'll bring a kid or two or whatever, or and they don't really care about the timing. And they pretty much end up walking it. So we have a lot of walkers. We have people as young as 7 years old actually participated in the 5, 10K, and as old as 80 years old. So it's a big range in terms of age, and but yeah, the timing is important to certain people. I'd say maybe 10-15% of the people. I mean, the runners. And as a matter of fact, I just remembered we had this one kid from Santa Rosa. This guy's like a world record holder in all kinds of different events for different ages, and he came one year to do our race. And the reason he came to do our race was because it's right before his birthday, and it's flat course, And needless to say, he came in and ended up with a record time. So there is some people that do appreciate being timed and having an official time.
Great. So here's a question. Oh, I'm
That's not-
sorry, one. So here's
Yeah,
a
that's
question for both of you. You guys spent a lot of time talking about sponsors, and I understand the importance of the sponsors, and the levels of sponsorships were informative as well. Can you give me an idea, each of you, about how many sponsors you guys will have at a particular race? Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 50?
No, ours we get about 20. So the majority of our sponsors are in the $500 range,
Got it.
because then they get on the t-shirt. And so we have about 20 usually. And then, yeah, I can just count the logos on the backs of the t-shirt, and then it runs about 20.
Got it.
Yeah.
Juan?
I think one dropped off.
We lost Juan.
I think that's the end of our program. If you need to talk to Juan about anything, you know, you had his email. All right. Is this a
Great.
good time to sign off?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much thank you very much for the presentation and answering the additional questions.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you.